So this thing behind me, this huge enclosure behind me, this is Junglearium, and it is my biggest project ever, and it is also, from what I know, this is the biggest enclosure project, a DIY enclosure project on the YouTube. And today's video almost started with a catastrophe. Look at this. Yesterday I came in to do some maintenance and stuff, and then I noticed right there a puddle of water. And you know, that is a catastrophe when you see a puddle of water. I immediately panicked, thinking this is over. The Junglearium is over before it even started. This water section is leaking, which means there is no way to fix that. I will need to just take all the water out, fill it up with substrate, and that actually means bye-bye to this beautiful waterfall that we got going on, which isn't even fully set up. We don't have aquatic plants or anything, and nothing is living inside. So that means before we even started using this water feature, it is already over. But thankfully, as you can see by the fact that water is still running and I had a leak yesterday, it means that I fixed it. Or did I? I didn't do a thing, and look what actually happened. You know, here I have this plastic bucket with water, which holds, you see, a water pump. Through this pipe, the water is overflowing from this section into this bucket. And I intended to build a filtration right here, but I still didn't do that because there is nothing alive inside and I have some time to do that. But not only did I notice a puddle here, but also all of this was completely wet. Now it is still from what you can see kind of wet, and you see that this wood is wet and this wood is wet and the wood behind is wet, but it is slowly now drying because the water was not actually coming from the water section. You see this, all of this is glass, and I have basically a glass aquarium down here. The water was actually coming through, just a second, I need light. The water was actually coming through this hole right there, and that is a hole that intentionally put here with multiple purposes. First purpose is the pipe through which water overflows from water section from aquarium into the bucket down there goes through that hole, and also the pipe that brings water for the waterfall, it also comes through that hole. And as you know, since there is a lot of humidity inside of this enclosure with misting and such, underneath this entire substrate I have drainage layer, which actually drain water, the excess water from the substrate, that can then simply drain through that hole into this bucket. So it is all working as intended, but the only problem was water was not falling directly in the bucket, but was actually going on the surface of these pipes right behind the bucket, you see. So that puddle of water and the water that was around here was actually the first water that drained through this hole from the drainage layer. Yeah, it took a while. So you can imagine my relief when I figured that out. And it is an easy fix. I just need to shorten these pipes and put them inside of this bucket and everything will be all right. But I didn't shorten the pipes because I'm still not sure if this will be the bucket that I will use for the filtration and if I will maybe turn it around and move it around. So that's why I wanted to have longer tubes, but this was an unforeseen consequence that thankfully got an easy fix. This turned off, so let me just beep. It is 8 o'clock, so this turns off automatically. So thankfully we don't need to fix this today. It is basically dry, so it will be all right. But next Junglearium update video will probably be about that and some other technical aspects of the enclosure. Today, once again, we are focusing on the plants. I will give you an update because in last video, you know, I planted these plants, and even though I did say that I will order all the remaining plants and plant the entire Junglearium, I've been slacking a bit, and as you can see, I didn't do that. But that is even better because I didn't overwhelm myself with too many plants at once. And also, as you know, on Leicester Plaza, I received a bunch of new plants that are suitable for the Junglearium. So today we will also add them. And this time I actually know what species of plants I have, and I know exactly how I need to plant them. With these I was kind of winging it, but now it is like more professional. Let me show you the plants. These are the ones, and even though on first glance they kind of all look pretty similar, they are vastly different and have completely different way that they grow. So first I will plant them and then I will give you an update on all the other plants. First two plants are actually the ones that we desperately need, because these are the ones that we will plant basically in the waterfall. I mean in the waterfall section. One will go over there and the other one will go somewhere over there, or maybe even over there. This one will go on the bottom part, and the scientific name is Monstera dubia. So yeah, it is not a dubia roach, but it is actually a dubia plant. Hilarious, right? And the other plant will go on top, and this one is called Piper ornatum. So yeah, this one will go right somewhere over there. The idea is to plant it somewhere down here, and then in theory it should climb all the way here, somewhere on top. And even though the texture of the wall is a bit rough, and hopefully the plant will be able to just hold on to bare wall, I will fill majority of these cracks with sphagnum moss and orchid bark, and that will surely help the plant. Let me just grab the moss. I already have it prepared in the bucket, and it is moisty, so it will definitely just stay inside of the holes if I push it in. Yeah, just like that. Even before getting these plants, I wanted to do this, but there was always something more important going on. And not only here, also I plan to cover all the cracks in this area, so in the future I can plant more similar plants. And the best part is not only that this moss serves a practical purpose, but it also looks so nice. And definitely this area now looks even better. Oh no, I broke the rock. This is actually one piece and I glue it somewhere, at least I think, but now it seems it is falling apart. Yeah, this is not good. I will need to re-glue this. But I will do that off camera. In this video we are focusing on the plants. So as I said, this one, the Monstera dubia, should go something like this. And it loves humidity, so I hope that this flowing water won't be an issue. But oh, look at this now. Just on its own, it looks so nice and sweet with this running water. But when you take a bigger picture, and of course once it grows a bit, oh, it will be amazing. And this pepper plant will go right here. This sphagnum moss right here will be super moist from the waterfall, so I pushed some roots into that, and the rest will just go somewhere here. And of course I have misting on top, so it will have enough humidity. Now something completely different, and it is this philodendron, and it is, oh, look at these leaves. The leaves on this plant can get massive, so it is not maybe the most suitable plant for this enclosure, but I can always trim it down and cut it down if there is too much plant. But there is one special thing. Cool and kind of unique thing about this plant is that it grows horizontally. It doesn't grow up like majority of the plants that we are planting here, but actually it grows horizontally on the substrate. So the idea is to plant it in the corner and it will spread through the enclosure. And with these awesome leaves, it will be awesome, yeah. You see, I will plant it right here instead of this moss. I'm gonna place that one somewhere here. So I will plant it here, and in theory it should grow like across the substrate of the enclosure. I just hope I won't need to cut it too much. I'm gonna reuse some of its dirt. As always, I'm making a lot of mess. A little bit of leaf litter to cover the hole, and we are set. I just hope that the plant will continue to grow into this direction and not somewhere over there, because then I will need to reroute it. This is one Anthurium species, and it got really nice leaves, as you can see. Kind of unique looking leaves. So this one will actually go over there on top, as it is kind of bare over there. So this one should help filling that section up. Oh, it is actually two separate plants, even better, so I can spread it. This area of enclosure is also not that easy to approach, so yeah, I hope that this sticks and spreads, so I don't need to go here often. I actually need to dig a hole. Then we add, then we add some sphagnum moss mixture and such, and plant the plant. That's the idea. Another hole right here. Ooh. I'm not sure if you can see it, but these are the pipes for the fogger thingy, fog that goes through here and through here. There we go, all planted. And you wouldn't believe how hot it is. I'm sweating, I'm completely wet, and it is intense. This Alocasia plant will actually be super useful because It grows relatively short and super bushy, and it also spreads around, so they should be great for providing hiding places for dart frogs in this area. And not only that, this plant loves water, so it was meant to be. Let me just bring it back to clear the roots a bit, to get it out of this pot. Alrighty then. There are actually two, as you can see, but I think that I will plant them as one, and then I will see how they actually spread. There it goes. And now all it needs is a bit leaf litter, so it blends a bit better. There we go. Perfect. This is another Anthurium species, and since they require an airy spot for the roots, and misting system is running, as you can see, so let's give it a minute. There we go. Now this one, I'm gonna actually fill this part with sphagnum moss and orchid bark, and then plant it like this, so it will fill this area. Yeah, that will be very nice. Oh, and as I was manipulating the plant, look, I broke one leaf. No, they are really fragile. I just accidentally pushed it on this rock and it fell off. So unfortunate. Gonna grab this, and then we squeeze plant in here, trying not to crush its roots, but it got so many roots, so much roots. That is a bit crazy. I'll just cover it like this, and that should be it. Looking all good, all good. And now the final plant, and it is that one right there, but let me just get this out of the way. Bam! Sorry for the noise. This is Epipremnum pinnatum, if I remember it correctly. And it is kind of similar with this plant over there that I got in a lot of my enclosures. So in theory it should be really easy to grow and maintain, but we never know. Easy is such a relative term. So this actually grows really cool, because as it is climbing it is getting better and better leaves. So yeah. This one will go into that corner right there, and hopefully it will just continue to climb on this background and then go over there, and yeah, hopefully, right? And by the way, the ventilation turned on, although we don't really need it because I have the entire glass off for this video. And once again, there is some moss that we need to relocate. Poor moss always gets in the way. Also, I cut this more since it is already cut. I will explain why I cut this plant. Now this should easily fit right there. Kinda random. We'll also add more substrate here because we exposed some wiring. And that should basically be it. All plants are planted. Look at it. Even though we still need a ton of plants, especially a lot more bromeliads, but it is filling up. It is surely filling up now. And now I can finally give you the update on the current plants. There is quite a lot. First, we will start with this one in the corner that I had to cut. If you remember, this one had long branches with big leaves. The reason why I cut it, I just couldn't get rid of some parasites that were constantly on the leaves. Even though I would wash and clean all the leaves, they would just come back, and I don't know if there were some eggs that I weren't able to clean, but leaves were clearly struggling, so I cut them away. But you see, new leaf is already sprouting, so don't you worry, this plant will recover without any problems. I'm just hoping that those nasty buggers won't be back and that they are now gone with the leaves that I cut. Now, when we go to this plant, this one actually have seen some better days. You see the leaves are starting to be yellow and such, and I'm pretty sure that that is because of how light is intense. And if you look at it now, you see that I turned off this one and over that one. After a week or so, I noticed that some plants are starting to be yellow, like that plant and also these plants. That is most often sign of too bright light. So first I bought the dimmer to dim the lights down, but it seems like the lights are just too strong for that dimmer, and as soon as I connected the dimmer it just blew out. So therefore I decided to just turn off those two lights, and now it seems that the brightness is ideal. And also, I don't know if you noticed, it did go away a bit, but in those few days when I had super bright light, all of this got covered with algae. There you can still see that algae, but it is not nearly as intense as it was when I had this light on. That was also another reason why I turned off those lights. Now, I cannot talk about how plants developed without noticing, without mentioning this one, because Look at these leaves. This plant is like doing amazing here. It loves this position and everything. You see, it's grown huge, and I hope that it won't keep growing and then it will put all of these plants behind in the shade. But the leaves are just amazing, you see. I'm not sure if you even realize how big the leaves are. They are bigger than my hand. Crazy plant. It loves this position. It loves this environment. Now this one, even though honestly at first I worried about it because I thought that there will be too much moisture in the substrate, but so far so good. It seems like plant doesn't really mind it, and all the leaves look nice and everything. You see, it got flowers all the time, and overall it grown since we planted it. Now this one is also performing good, although it is now in big shade because of these huge leaves. I'm not sure if I should cut some leaves or something, but currently it doesn't really mind it, and it finally hooked on the background, you see over there. So now it will continue to grow through here, and then it will reach the lights, and maybe I will cut this leaf. I'm not really sure. I will see how this will develop. These bromeliads also look fine. Also, this one looks just as it looked when we planted it, but this one, it looks like it's not performing well, although only old outside leaves are like that. It is actually sprouting new leaves that are much better, sturdier, and it seemed like in a month or 2 months it will completely recover, which you cannot really say about this bromeliad, because this one, I think it is dead, although it got offspring, and that one also seems like it is sprouting new leaves from the inside that looks healthy, although it is kind of weirdly shaped. I'm not really sure what is going on with that. This plant that we just throw on the background, it looks so nice now, and it is definitely healthy and growing. And I didn't mention this is one the same like this one, but this one got more light and it is definitely growing faster and got such a nice leaves, you see. But this plant, I think that this plant won't recover, and it was just beyond recovery when I even put it inside of this enclosure. Yeah, it looks like that, unfortunately. And what else do we got? Oh, we got this plant. You see, it looks nice, although these leaves are maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe they are fresh, so they look like that, but rest of the plant is really growing nicely. And overall, I think that the situation in the Junglearium is definitely getting greener and greener and more cluttered, which is what we want. And oh, actually, I forgot. This plant, for some reason, all the leaves are super small and tiny. I'm not sure if that means that there is not enough light or what, but it is still growing. It is still doing fine. And this plant, you know, we spread it around. I dump it here on the substrate, and it is also growing. You see there are small leaves over there and over there and over there. It is spreading. And also I put it right here, but this one is not doing that good, but still it seems like it is growing. Yeah, it was definitely struggling with all the light when it was just hitting it directly, but now it is good. It is definitely all right. What more can I say? Even though, as I said multiple times, we are lacking so many plants, when you look at the part of the enclosure, just like this part, it seems like you are recording it somewhere in the forest, right? You have a mushroom going on, you see. There are a bunch of mosses growing around. This rock is like green and such. It looks old. There is plant here, everything is growing, and yeah, it definitely looks like a part of the forest, even though we are still lacking so many plants. So much or many? So many plants. Yeah, so many plants. And for example, look at this angle, right? It looks like a forest, just waiting for some dart frogs to hop around. Oh, and I'm so tempted to add the dart frogs in, but yeah, until I plant all the plants and do the electronic stuff and all the other stuff that I need to do, I definitely should restrain myself from adding animals, because animals will just complicate everything. And I know that all of you are also waiting for the animals and are super excited to see animals inside. We need to be patient just a little bit more. Also, I gave up on killing all the spiders. It seems like for every spider that I kill, 2 more spawn. So in the future, when we add animals in here, specifically when we add little lizards, they should in theory eat majority of those spiders, or at least keep the population in check, because right now I think that there aren't any isopods left. I was searching for past few weeks, I was searching for isopods in here, but I couldn't find a single one. So I think that isopods are just gone. So once we deal with spiders, then I will also add isopods. Although those lizards will also eat the isopods. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up and comment something. If you want to support this channel more, there's a Patreon page. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. Upload on Monday, and sometimes there is a live stream on Sunday. So see you again kinda soon. Bye.